Pro-Life Gen, it's Reagan Barklage with Students for Life of America, and I can't wait to see you on March 23rd for the March on the Arch. Now, with this potential ballot referendum coming our way, it is critical that we come together as a city, state, community to show that we will not cave to this extreme pro-abortion agenda, that we're going to keep doing what we always do here in Missouri, and that's support women facing their unplanned pregnancies with incredible life-affirming resources. So let's let our voices be heard and come together on March 23rd for the March on the Arch.
Well, that voice is Reagan Barklage, and Reagan, as I understand it, is going to be there at the March for on the Arch this Saturday. I am going to be the MC of this. I am so incredibly excited for this event to come together with you, downtown St. Louis, to come together en masse and support life. And we are here with Brian Westbrook, who is the executive director and foundation of Coalition Life. Learn more at coalitionlife.com to talk to us a little about this and that initiative that I know that a lot of you have been hearing about. Thank you for being in here, Brian. It's good to have you.
Well, it's an honor, and it's so much fun always to be on the radio.
Yeah, of course. So let's first talk a little bit about the march. Just in practical sense, people are going to meet out across from Union Station at Allo Plaza, and that's where it starts at 11 a.m. If people want to come, do they need to sign up? How do they get involved?
Yeah, sure. Register at stlmarch.com. That's stlmarch.com. Again, the rally starts at 11 o'clock. The march starts at noon. We have some really great speakers lined up for that. And really talking about supporting women, supporting life. And so, please register beforehand and then come and show up and support life.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being a part of this. I appreciate that you've said this, Reagan said this, I say this all the time, that supporting life is supporting women. And I have done a lot of work with the V-Type Foundation. I've done work with other entities, local women's I don't know if like Mosaic, Pregnancy Center, Thrive, so on and so forth. And these are people who show up for women at their greatest need. These women can go to a place like that, or they can go to a place like Planned Parenthood. And right. I live in Illinois, and my governor seems to want to make us the destination capital of abortion in the country, or at least the Midwest.
Yeah, of course they did. After the Dobbs decision, the state of Illinois had the highest rate of increase in abortions, over 20% increase in 1 year. In the state of Illinois, the governor is just begging people to come into the state of Illinois, especially down in Carbondale. There are 3 brand new abortion facilities in Carbondale, Illinois. It's not far. It's a 2-hour drive from St. Louis here. But what we find is that women are coming from Texas, Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, all of these other states in the southern part of the U.S., all flooding into Carbondale, Illinois. So we have a team down there. We're working
What's the team do?
So the team does something called sidewalk counseling. And so what we do is we go out directly in front of these abortion facilities, and we have a professional team that then offers direct alternatives. So we're working with a pregnancy center down there, but then also our Women's Care Connect Pregnancy Center will help them to find resources where they live, right? There's tons of resources in all of these other variety of states, but for some reason, Planned Parenthood and other abortion allies of theirs, they will pay for their travel to, whether it's Fairview Heights, Illinois, to that Planned Parenthood, or to Carbondale. They'll pay for their travel and everything else to get there. But if they don't do the abortion, they won't pay for their travel home. It's kind of disgusting.
That's hard to fit in my brain. Because you have to ask yourself, what is that investment for? And I mean, that's wow. That's wow.
It's really disgusting. So the state of Illinois will pay for their abortion, will pay for their travel, will bring them into the state, take the life of the child, and then send them home. But it doesn't change their problems. But in our pregnancy center, we talk about the real problems these women are going through. Many are facing homelessness. They're facing a lot of poverty, abuse. Many of them are caught in sex trafficking, and all they're doing is covering up all of these problems. You want to talk about rape and incest? I mean, this is happening, and the abortion only covers up all of those problems.
Right.
And so at our pregnancy center, Women's Care Connect, along with our good friends over at Thrive and Mosaic and Birthright, all these great places, we want to actually help them with their underlying challenges. The child is not the problem. The underlying challenges are. And that's what we want to do as both a pro-life movement and also the agencies and the 75 pregnancy centers here in the state of Missouri.
It is especially with the way you just put it, it is amazing the multitude of sins that are hidden by the existence and the encouragement of abortion. That I believe that life starts at conception. That's what I believe. I think that's what science says. I understand politically that the way laws are going to be changed over the course of time, it's probably going to be incremental. I don't think abortion is ever completely going to be illegal in the United States of America. So I'm willing to take any win there. But I've also emphatically encouraged listeners of this show to understand that waiting on a politician to solve this problem means it will never be solved. This is a cultural problem. This is a cultural rot where we have a group of people who are taking advantage of something that I think is the most evil thing plaguing society today to cover those other horrid things that exist in our society. And we have to show up in Carbondale, and we have to show up in Fairview Heights, and we have to show up to support these women who are given the opportunity to choose life. We have to support them when they choose life. We have to be there. And it seems to me like Coalition Life is fighting that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single day, we have a professional team out there. We started the ministry some 12 years ago with a basic prayer vigil to stand on the sidewalk, hold a sign, and say a couple of prayers. We've now seen over 4,000 women leave and choose life at these abortion facilities. And so we know that if we go out with a professional team, that we can make a really huge impact and actually help these women with a lot of their hardships. But again, the other side of this argument, they don't want to actually help them. Instead, they want to send them off with an abortion and then never talk to them ever again until they get pregnant again, and then they continue the cycle over and over and over again. And so that's why we need groups, supporting life, and also donors, of course. And then also, we've got opportunities, whether it's social media or other things, to actually talk about this issue. Back when I was working at an engineering firm, I wouldn't talk to my coworkers. I wouldn't talk to people around me about it because it's this kind of, issue that's, it's okay with the politicians to talk about it, but maybe not me.
Right.
But I think I encourage us to talk about it at the dinner table in our workplace because it's going to be coming pretty hot and heavy here in the next 8 months as we might see this ballot initiative in Missouri.
So let's talk about the ballot initiative. This is something, it's very simple for me to bring up abortion in Illinois and then talk forever about the multitude of sins that are being put upon women in the state of Illinois and all of those that travel to Illinois to get those services. A lot of people would look at Missouri and say, well, they eradicated abortion. There's nothing to worry about there. Tell me about this initiative that is out there right now, what it's being posed as and what it really is.
Yeah, so they're proposing this as being a simple, replacement for Roe versus Wade, right? Because they lost Roe versus Wade on the Dobbs decision a couple years ago. And so they think that they can sell this to the people of Missouri saying, well, no, it's just a basic, we'll bring a few abortions back to Missouri, only in few cases. But that's not what the language says in this ballot initiative. The language clearly says that it's late-term abortion and for any reason at all, bringing that back to Missouri. And it gives the abortionist and anyone involved in any so-called reproductive health full immunity. So if they kill a woman during an abortion, they get full immunity. If she gets in a car accident on the way to an abortion or even just a simple OBGYN appointment, this gives full immunity for any person involved in reproductive health. So that also involves, if she's being sex trafficked, that involves the trafficker. That involves the people who are forcing or pressuring her into an abortion. I don't know about you, but I don't support late-term or forced abortion, especially not in Missouri.
Absolutely. So they're marketing it as what are they saying? If the language, which I'm reading right here in my hand, of what they've put together says what you are saying it says, how are they getting people to sign?
Yeah, so in the state of Missouri, in a sense, there are no abortions happening in the state of Missouri, with the exception of the emergency conditions of the life of the mother. So the physical health of the mother. But what they're putting in here is they're saying that the abortionist can determine on their own good judgment on her mental health. So what that means is basically if she's having a bad day and the abortionist says, well, I think it's better for her to have an abortion instead of her having a worse day tomorrow, then he can go ahead and do that. And it will not allow municipalities or governments to present zoning laws because of this. So that basically means that they can put an abortion facility next to your kid's elementary school. So, I mean, this is really, really dangerous.
Quite a Trojan horse.
Right? And it's also, it doesn't actually say gender reassignment surgeries, but it fully covers gender reassignment surgeries, meaning that a parent could be pushed out of the entire conversation, and a school or anybody else could force your child to get reassignment surgery. It's hard to even say those terms, but without your knowledge, and if you got in the way, that you would be the one prosecuted, not the other people.
Well, I mean, if people think that sounds ridiculous, that's actually a part and parcel what's taking place in the state of Illinois right now. Those are active measures that are passed or trying to be passed to eliminate the parent's role in the decisions. These are health decisions for your child. And when you have to call so that my kid can have an Advil because they have a headache at school, but you can enforce these types of persuasions onto kids. You can require educators who are aware that children are having certain thoughts or feelings and they've talked to a teacher about it, and then the teacher is not allowed to discuss those things with the parents at meetings or whatever. I mean, this is definitely in practice in other places. If people want to combat this initiative, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, it's not yet on the ballot. If someone approaches you and asks you to sign this petition, I would first ask them very detailed questions about what exactly is on this ballot initiative. I want to see the language. And I'd ask our listeners to think twice before signing. I mean, think really long and hard about the ramifications of this late-term abortion, forced abortion initiative petition. It's going to have ripple effects throughout the entire state of Missouri and beyond. So first and foremost, think twice before signing, and especially those people approaching you. Come out to our March on the Arch, stlmarch.com. There's a lot of speakers who are going to be talking in much more detail about this and also what you can do to support women and also support our work and the work of others at coalitionlife.com.
Amen to that. I'll be there. I hope I get to see you there. stlmarch.com. One of the things I try to highlight this when it comes up, and there's a lot of discussion taking place on the YouTube channel right now too about when is it appropriate, when is it not appropriate, and so on and so forth. But I've talked to several OB/GYNs about this issue, and it's a specific question that I ask them: is it ever necessary to end the life of the baby to save the life of the mother? And the answer is no.
Right.
There are times where labor will be induced and the baby may not survive that. But it's never required to dismember and end the life of a baby. You could force delivery. Something could go wrong during delivery. The child may not be able to survive outside of the womb at the early point in that delivery that is necessary. But when you understand exactly the grotesque nature with which abortions are being induced, be it through pill form or the actual plucking limb by limb of a child from the womb of a mother, they got to lay it out on the tray to make sure they get all the pieces of the baby outside of the mother. That's never required to save the life of the mother. And it's something that's used to have a conversation about 94% of abortions that don't occur in those cases with rape, incest, and the life of the mother. It's just kind of a distraction to the actual conversation of all these women who are in a clinic and they're scared and they're alone. And if you want to support those women, then be there for them and help them choose life and help them understand. This is another thing that a lot of the places that you listed in Coalition Life as well. It's not just about the pregnancy to the birth. There is support at these agencies that are around this area that are life focused places that help far beyond that.
Right. I mean, we've served thousands of women throughout the last 12 years, and across the board, they all feel like they're pressured, forced, coerced. They have no other options, which is, I think, ironic because the other option calls themselves the choice option,
Yeah.
right?
That implies.
Right. That there's multiple choices
Yeah.
here. And what we actually find is that when we talk to these women, they are feeling very pressured, whether it's from society, from a boyfriend, from a parent, somebody else is pressuring or forcing them into these abortions. And I'm sure some of your listeners, well, that wouldn't be the case for me or that's fine. But that's not the case for the thousands of women that we've spoken to over and over again. And so instead, they're looking for solutions. They're looking for help. Where society has failed them, we, the pro-life movement, want to stand in the gap and offer them so much help and resources, of course, for the first 9 months and then beyond, where we can help them set them up for success, set them up to help them get a job, help them get housing, help them with material needs they might have for themselves and also for their baby. And there's stories and stories over and over of all these successes. And it's interesting that somehow the other side says that you can't have both an education and a baby at the same time. They say, well, you can't be successful and have a baby at the same time. And they discount women, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think that women are strong and can do both of these things. And I mean, my wife has, we have 7 children at home. If she can do it, I think they can do it as well.
Amen. And society should be there to support that. Brian Westbrook, thanks for being with us. I want to encourage people to go to coalitionlife.com to learn more about that initiative. But also, would you come see me on Saturday, March 23rd? The rally starts at 11 a.m. You can sign up at stlmarch.com. I would love to see you. Pro-woman, pro-child, pro-life. Join me. Let's do this together this Saturday. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
It's an honor.